Shalom, sisters. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make butterscotch unleavened bread. Here are your ingredients that we'll be needing and the tools we'll be needing for your recipe today, including your pan size. So we'll go ahead and get started. The main ingredients are butter and cream cheese, sugar, flour, salt, vanilla, eggs. Now your butter, you do want to be room temperature. And what I mean by that is that it has to be sitting out for at least 8 hours. Or at least I recommend you sit it out for 8 hours to the point where you can squeeze it and it's super soft. Same thing with the cream cheese. So 8 hours I recommend. At least overnight. You want a cup of brown sugar and a cup of white sugar. Now this is the butterscotch recipe. For different recipes call for different sugars. So this one just needed brown and white. So just pay attention to your recipes. We do need salt. I use kosher salt or sea salt. You can use any salt. You can use table salt, even Himalayan salt. But just be careful with that Himalayan salt. It's a little salty. But yeah, you just need salt. Okay. And you just need 1 teaspoon. You're gonna need a cup and a half of all-purpose flour, properly measured, and I will show you guys how to do that. You need your measuring cups, your teaspoon measuring, and you will need your eggs, and I use quail eggs, but I'll show you all the proper measurements on those. You'll need caramel extract and vanilla extract as well. Okay. Now you will need butterscotch chips, and you will need a separate little bowl of about 2 teaspoons of flour, just loose flour. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna coat our butterscotch chips in these, and I will show y'all why later on. Now you will need a mixer. You can use any mixer you want, and you need a deep bowl. You can use any size bowl, but you need a deep bowl. And then you want your 13 by 9 pan. I've been using these aluminum pans because they're honestly either disposable or reusable. And honestly, they have just been working really well for me lately in my oven. Now, this non-stick baking spray for baking specifically is the best. I personally use a Baker's Joy brand, but this is all they had at the store, so this is what I had to work with. So I recommend this. Now, if you don't have this, just put a little bit of room temperature butter all over your pan and sprinkle a little bit of flour on there. Coat it all over your pan, and then you're good for your nonstick. And make sure you preheat your oven at 350. All right, so then now we're going to add our butter and our cream cheese. Now I'm going to show y'all. Now I washed my hands before all this, and this is my father's house. So, but I just wanted to show y'all how soft the butter is and the cream cheese. That's how soft y'all want y'all's butter, sisters. And honestly, y'all want this to be done as naturally as possible. You could put it in the microwave, but it's gonna melt. So you want this to sit for at least 8 hours out of the fridge. But as you can see, the little dents I made with my finger, it's really room temperature. Now you put your 1 teaspoon of salt, and like I said, sisters, y'all could use any salt, even Himalayan salt. Just be careful. What this is pretty much going to do is just combat all that sugar that we're going to be adding later on. Now you do want to, the cream cheese is making the mixture look white already, but you want this portion of the batter to look really pale, like as pale as possible. So just mix as much as you can. This portion of the batter, I do recommend that you overmix as much as possible, because you want the most air in there as possible. All right, make sure you scrape as much as you can whenever you can off of the sides. We'll go ahead and add our extracts. Now for the caramel, it is a very strong flavor, so we'll only do a 1/4 teaspoon, which is 1/4 teaspoon of the caramel extract. And then we'll do 2 teaspoons of the vanilla extract. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and get that incorporated into our batter. Mix very well. And like I said, sisters, do not be afraid to overmix in this portion of your steps. I recommend you overmix in this portion of your steps. As you can see, the batter is starting to look a little more soft. So that's what you want. It's not completely soft because we haven't added our sugar yet. But it is looking a little more softer. So we'll go ahead and add our sugars. And again, it was 1 cup of each. Now, if you can see, after we added the sugar, everything is mixing much faster, much better, and the consistency is looking much easier to mix. And that is true. And honestly, I don't know why I didn't do this first. You could, you don't have to do it in the order I did it specifically, but you do want to just cream your butters and your sugars. So you could have added the cream cheese, the butter, and the sugar, and the salt all together, and done it that way, and that would have made your life easier. I just decided to make my life hard today. So make sure with brown sugar that you are careful to take out those clumps sometimes that happen. You don't want anyone messing up their teeth, you know, or getting a hard bite because of your bread. So make sure you get those out. And again, make sure you scrape everything off the sides as best as you can. And after this, you just want to mix to the point to where your batter almost looks like whipped cream. And this is ideally the consistency you want before you even add your eggs. Again, the reason you want to do this, sisters, is because you want the most air as possible in your batter. Since we're not using any leaven, this is what we want to create a fluffy bread. Now, I used quail eggs. They're obviously much smaller, but this recipe would call for 3 chicken eggs. Now, I recommend, and I'm telling y'all that it makes a difference, each egg that you add, you beat 1 egg at a time, 1 minute per egg. Do it. 1 egg at a time, 1 minute each egg. And it makes a big difference. Now, I was telling some sisters that because I've been using quail eggs, I add 1 extra quail egg, which would even out to about, if you beat, 1 egg for y'all, people that use regular eggs. You beat, 1 full egg, and then just use a quarter, of that egg in your batter, and then just use the remaining egg, to make yourself a little scrambled egg or something. But it makes a difference, that extra little bit of egg that you use in creating the moistness, or retaining that moistness in your bread. So just 3 eggs and a quarter, if that makes any sense. Or you could just use the regular 3 eggs. It's the same thing, but if you want to do it how I do it, that's how I do it. If not, just follow the recipe like how I put in the description, and you'll still get the same results. But yes, sisters, 1 egg at a time, 1 minute each egg. I'm telling y'all, do it. It makes a big difference in the fluffiness of your bread. It makes a big difference. All right, now I'm gonna show y'all how to properly measure flour. You take your measuring cup, you measure out your flour, and then with the butter knife, you just scrape the top, and that's how you properly measure flour. Okay, you want to know how to do this, sisters, because baking is a science. You want to have proper measurements, because it does make a difference when it comes down to your breads, the cookies, anything you make. You want it to be precise. Now, you also want to sift your flour. I recommend y'all do this because when it comes to prepackaged flour, you never know what's in there, and also you want to avoid clumps. So sift your flour for sure. It also makes a difference in your flour. So just go ahead and do that. Now, when you're mixing, do not over mix your batter. Okay? You just want the batter to be well incorporated. So just make sure all the wet ingredients are touched, all the dry ingredients are touched and well incorporated. Everything else we will mix with the spatula. Don't worry about it. We will mix it later with the spatula. I'm telling you, do not ruin your work of creating all that fluffiness, beating all those eggs for nothing. You see how quickly I did that? Just beat it like that. It's fine if you have white. we'll mix it with the spatula. All right. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the butterscotch chips. What a lot of people do is they just throw in the sprinkles, chocolate chips, anything really, nuts, into their batters, and then they notice that it sinks to the bottom. What we're gonna do is we're gonna avoid that by coating our chips in flour. So we'll put our desired amount of chips into the 2 teaspoons of flour that we had put in the little bowl, and we'll just evenly coat the chips. And what this is going to do, like I said, is going to prevent the chips from sinking to the bottom so that everyone gets a little bite of caramel. It's going to evenly disperse everything across your batter. It's going to let everything float in your batter, so you'll see in a few what I'm talking about. And it's okay that extra flour that's in there, you just dump it all in there, and you'll mix it with the spatula and just incorporate it well. But you could tell right away that the chips are being evenly dispersed throughout your batter instead of just all going to the bottom. And I had to learn this the hard way, sisters. So all praises that y'all get to see someone do it for y'all. But yes, mix everything, scrape everything from the sides. Don't leave anything behind. But you see how everything is evenly dispersed. All praises. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to spray our pan with the nonstick. Like I said before, I prefer Baker's Joy, but this was fine. If you don't have a nonstick spray, you could just, like I said, take some room temperature butter and sprinkle a little bit of flour. Same thing. Just tap it all over, and then you'll get the same thing. Now, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and dump our batter into your pan. We'll evenly disperse it. Now, if y'all notice, the batter is pretty fluffy. It looks soft and it looks fluffy. Sisters, we put in a lot of work beating each egg one at a time, creaming all that butter, all that sugar. You know, your hard work will pay off, sisters. I promise. I promise it will be worth it. Your family will thank you. Your Lord will thank you. If you bake bread for the school, the congregation will thank you. All praises. All right. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to just evenly disperse the cake. You don't, it honestly really doesn't matter because I'm going to show y'all a trick on what to do to get it even, and how to get the proper and concise consistency when it comes to your bread each and every time. Now, y'all want to make sure that y'all let people around you know that you're about to make some noise. Make sure that your counter is clean. You don't have anything of value on it, because what you're going to do is you're going to smack your pan around, all right? You're going to give it 10 smacks, And I'm being literal and serious right now. 10 smacks, but you can see the air bubbles coming out of your pan. And it makes a big difference, sisters. It makes a big difference. The air bubbles sometimes cause air pockets in your bread. And this is what I do to prevent that from happening, which creates a consistent bread whenever I make bread. So you're going to give it around 10 smacks. Like I said, make sure you let everyone around you know that you're about to smack some bread. So just throw it in the oven at 350 for about 30 to 35 minutes based on your oven and how good your oven is. You be the judge of that. It's 30 to 35 minutes. Now, I usually measure the readiness of my bread by the temperature with a thermometer. The bread is done at 205 degrees, or you can measure it with the toothpick if you don't have a thermometer. But a lot of the time, whenever you measure with a toothpick, sisters, the bread is overcooked. So I measured this with a thermometer. It was at 205. It was good to go. So it was done. I'm sorry I didn't get to cut into it so y'all could see it, but it was delicious. Okay, I promise it was delicious. But the bread was fluffy. It was consistent. It was moist. All praises. Here's the recipe. If y'all have any questions, y'all could ask me in person or y'all could DM me. Yeah, so just prepare yourselves for Passover. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless. Happy baking, sisters.